Welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76. Along with me, as always, we have
Jake.
You're gonna have to speak up.
Yeah, dude.
Jacob.
Do you go by Jacob ever?
No.
Is your full name Jacob?
Only females.
No,
call me
is your
Jacob.
full name Jacob?
It is
okay.
written that way on the
Okay.
certificate of birth. Yes.
Okay. Jacob and Sons. Okay,
I don't know what that is.
He's always got
It's
a
from the
song.
musical.
Nope. Musical
Technicolor Dreamcoat. You never?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Dude, you could bust out any proper noun and he's got a song for it.
Yeah, basically.
It's crazy. Wisconsin, Oklahoma,
Octopus.
Jacob.
I do actually.
Oh, God, I hate it. I hate you.
Yep, people call me Studley Omelet. They don't.
They
but
do?
They see
Oh.
that
Oh,
on
okay.
the screen.
Okay.
The big screen.
Oh no, that's my name on the screen. Screen
yeah.
name.
Got
I'm
it.
doing the opposite.
Okay.
The opposite.
Yeah, okay, I'm Matt. I'm Symbiote. Let's go.
Hey, man. All right, well,
We even it out.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Jake takes about 5
Yours
minutes.
is like
and-
normal. Jake is either really short or really long. Always awkward.
I wanted to be short. I wanted to say Jake, but he had to ask me questions.
Well, no, you said Jacob, and I was like, is that really your full name?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, well, welcome everyone. It's summertime, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, finally.
What's your favorite thing about summer, Matt?
I'm not a big summer person, so not a whole lot.
What's your least favorite thing about summer?
Most everything.
Wow.
It being super hot out
Do you prefer winter over summer?
for a couple months,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah. Me
Spr-
too.
Spring is awesome, but like this summer has been like all windy
Yeah.
and stuff all the time, which sucks because I don't really want to go outside when it's all windy and crappy.
Yeah. What about you, Jake? What's favorite thing and least favorite thing about summer?
I don't really put much thought into that stuff.
Okay.
Into material things like the planet.
Yeah.
No, specifically, like it's right up there with like, what's your favorite color? It's like,
What is
there's-
your favorite
There's
color?
4 of them, and I gotta live through all of them. And the same thing with colors. Like, there's a whole bunch of them, and I gotta see them all. And like, why have favorites?
You don't
It's
have
not
to
like
see
I
them
can
all.
Yeah,
pick
you
and
could close
choose.
your eyes.
Because blue's my favorite color, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stare at his shirt like way more, way more than look at you. It doesn't influence my life any, so I really don't put any thought or credence into it.
Okay. All right. That was my icebreaker for this week. So thanks
Consider it broken.
Yeah.
And then I froze it right over.
Yeah. Thanks for not swearing.
Yeah.
So, Jake, what's something cool or unique that came into the store this week?
Other than Roger.
Yeah. Do you know what I did buy this
Cool
week
and
though?
unique.
I bought Splatterhouse, the 2010
Did you
remake.
get that from us?
Yeah, I did.
Was that like
Oh, see, I didn't even know we
kind
had
of
that.
not a great game?
Well, yes, it's not. But
Both
it had
the
all
original
3 of
and the
them.
reboot.
Yeah, it has the original game.
Oh, okay.
It has all 3 originals and then the reboot. So I'll probably play the originals. I don't care about the reboot. I almost didn't get it, and then I was telling Lenny about it, and Lenny's like, "Wait, is it this game?" And then he went to your arcade in the corner, and I said, "Yeah, that's it." And he's like, "Oh, I love this game." I'm like, "All right, I'm buying it."
He is so retro.
You were just being like the poor man's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Actually, that's the reason why I
It's
wanted to
still
get it. 'Cause I
$40
was like,
bucks digital.
what?
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
it hurts
Yeah.
a little bit.
We'll get into that when we get to the news.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is something cool that came into GamerHeads, gaming generations this week?
I guess, and then, via the transitive property GamerHeads.
Yeah.
A bit indirectly. But I'm trying to think. I guess trade-ins were kind of light today. I didn't put much thought into this one either. But it's not for, like, colors and, like, all those other reasons.
What colors came into the store this week?
Some blues, some yellows.
Nice. But really, we all of a sudden have an overabundance of everything. And I think, again, we can thank garage sale season for that.
You know, one thing that I noticed that was actually on the shelf that really shocked me was the new Fire Emblem game. What is the new one called? Echoes.
Is that the one you bought?
No,
Echoes
no.
Valencia.
Yeah.
Echoes from Valencia.
Valencia.
There could be like
Shadows of Valencia?
there could
It's
be
like
like 3 million
TA.
of those games, and I wouldn't know.
No, I have the last one. I have have
I know nothing about that series.
Birthright and Echoes.
That's the one. That's the one where they
sorry.
dance and sing, right?
Sure.
The new one, it's
Tokyo
apparently
Mirage.
different.
got
Like
Fire
they do
Emblem
have
characters in it.
pre-made characters that.
Yeah, well, so it's actually a
You told me
remake.
that,
It's
maybe.
no, I didn't tell you that,
Okay.
but it's actually a remake. It's actually an old game.
Oh, cool! Like
Yeah.
a GBA game or something.
No, it's a game that was never released here in the U.S. Actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually kind of want to get it, but I had to get through the one that I have right now first.
yeah.
I did promise myself I'd go through that first before I buy it.
That's a cool. I guess you know what I always talk about trade-ins and stuff, but there's always new stuff that we get, and like even like it's notable that like even in the summer months, games are still coming out that are like pretty AAA. You
Yeah.
know? Like Fire Emblem or Tekken. Like Nintendo's
Yeah,
always
Tekken.
kind of spread it out, and then they're like. It's crazy because everything that they publish specifically is pretty much AAA, but then they have their like quadruple A's or whatever you want to call it, like the guaranteed buys. Breath of the Wild having 110% sales over consoles.
So what's the like AAA that you would say that's outside of that they
Well,
publish?
I'm just saying like so the Zeldas and the Marios and stuff like that they're always gonna release at the holiday season. They'll literally
Yeah.
push it back an entire year if they are not gonna meet that mark. Like, and I think there's like definitely reason. Never mind, Zelda came out in March.
Yeah, I was just
Shut
gonna
up.
say. Zelda came out in March, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, but
me.
that was console launch though.
Yeah, that was console.
Oh, good point. Yep.
Yeah.
See, hey, coming out. But it's weird. They must have really rushed the launch or something because
I think they
it
rushed
seemed
the launch
like
of
a
the
holiday.
Switch, probably. Not so
like
much of the
Wii
game, I
came
don't
out
think.
in October, or I mean Wii U, but
Did it?
yeah, like it was a little bit more.
When did the Wii come out? Do you remember?
I bet it was a holiday thing because I really remember that rush. But maybe
Hmm.
it was so extended. Maybe it did come out in the summer or something. I don't know.
No, I
wasn't
think
around
the
back then.
3DS came out in
That
March.
was like 2007 or something, 2008.
Oh no, I think
even
it was,
older.
I think it was 2005 or 6.
No.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh.
I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't
too.
know.
I don't remember. So you don't have anything else cool that came into the store?
No, I just talked about how like new games are still coming out right now, which is kind of unique because it used to not be like that. But now, like maybe they were shooting themselves in their foots, like the publishers. I mean, like EA and stuff like that, releasing like Titanfall and Battlefield and Star Wars and like all this stuff at the same time. Like it's like, why would you do that? Because only people can buy
that's
one
why
game.
that's why they started like pushing things intentionally, was so they weren't competing with themselves.
Yep.
Yeah,
I believe it. So I
Yeah.
bet that's what kind of staggered
Because
a lot of these releases.
It was like Battlefield was competing with something like Titanfall or something, and they
too,
were
yeah.
both
Really what
EA
comes to
or something.
mind.
So then EA was like, "Oh, we're starting to push things now, so we don't compete with ourselves." And then
Oh.
everyone's like, "Well, that's stupid because we're looking forward to these games, and now you gave us dates, and now they're pushing it." So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I guess it's a hard thing, right? Because you don't want to compete with yourself. But then, I mean, especially games like that. I think it's games that are the multi-shooters, or in the same genre, I should say. Like,
yeah,
you're going to compete with the same market, probably.
yeah.
Like, if it was two separate games, if one was a platformer and one was like a, shooter game or open world RPG, I think that would be completely two different things. But
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So that's that.
good talk, Jake. Good
Yeah.
talk.
Hey. Hey, thanks. I'll show up anytime.
Thanks. So yeah, we have a big episode actually this week, and Jake, I think you're gonna be pretty excited about this hot topic this week. So we got some news too. Before we get into that, Matt, I'm excited about your new project you're working on.
Sweet.
I'm really excited, and I'm hoping that after this podcast, you have something that you can show us more of.
There's not like a whole lot there
Oh,
yet.
okay.
I mean, there's a lot more than last time, but
Yeah.
More
Yep.
groundwork, or
yeah, pretty much.
what does that
Building
mean?
like a house
oh,
like,
oh,
From
wow.
scratch.
But you-
scratch.
Is it really from
With
scratch?
my own
You
two
can't-
hands.
You
You're
can't
like a
have
god.
templates or something, or is there a specific look you want?
No, I just picked a blueprint off the internet and started building it, which sucks because the blueprint, the layout doesn't have the roof on it. So I started building it and I was like, this isn't structurally correct. And then I was like,
so
it's a
weird.
horror game. It doesn't need to make sense.
Yeah. Well, that's so weird. I didn't even thought of that. Like, do you have to study structure and design, like house design? Like, did you do that? Like when you design homes and stuff like that? I know it sounds
No.
weird, but
Not really. But I mean,
Okay.
that's because I have the blueprint. So I just go off the blueprint.
oh, okay.
But I mean, like when you put a roof on it, you're like, you do a peak and then you do another peek, and you're like, well, now the water is going to go right in between them and into the house. So then you're like, how do they do it in real life? And then you're like, I don't care. Like, no one's going to ever see it.
Yeah.
One, the game is really like kind of dark, and two, no one's going to care. Except for now that they know about it.
Yeah, now they're going to look.
But it's a horror game. So
where's the structural?
There's a gutter system that you
yeah.
can't really see. It's built into the framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like so dark that I didn't like the way it looked. I put a big peak on it, and like you can't see this thing I want you to see in the distance, and it was like, I don't like that, so I just took the peak away.
Oh, okay. So you tell us more about the game?
Wait. On the side of development, before you get into that, is it harder than Minecraft to build a house?
You don't have to build it like block by block, but to make it like clean, yeah, it's kind of annoying because
you gotta build,
if everything's built out of a cube, right, and you get to a doorway, well, a doorway has is like a wall is a square, but it's got a big hole cut in it, so you have to cut a hole in it, and then like create the little amount of distance that the doorway takes up, and then create the next wall on the other side. And so there's all like that little like tweaking and stuff. Yeah. Luckily, like there's a grid snapping thing in the editor that I use, so I can hook it together.
I see.
Nice.
Kind of like tweening in Flash.
Yeah, kind of, but not really.
Because there's no motion.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the game?
No.
Okay. Well, what's it called? I mean, I don't know if we even talked about that last time, did we?
Probably. It's called Knock.
Yeah.
Because of, well, you gave me one of the gameplay mechanics that's going to be in it.
Ooh.
But I'm not going to tell you what it is. So you won't know which one you actually put in there.
Wow. I feel honored.
Yeah, maybe. It just makes more sense with what it's about.
Oh, exciting.
There's like 4 or 5...
Do I get a credit in the credits?
No, that's why I'm not going to tell you what the thing I stole from you was. There's like 4 or 5 mechanics in it.
Yeah.
Or not mechanics, people.
I know. I know what I gave you.
What? No, you don't. No, I guarantee you don't.
I gave you.
Because it has nothing to do with people.
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
Well, because the reason I thought that, because we talked about Barbie Pet Cemetery. No, Pet Rescue.
That'd be great.
And I said how that there are 4 or 5 models that walk around.
Oh, yeah.
And then you run into the same ones, and you're like, that would be really scary in a game.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
Okay. Jake, what are you giggling about over here?
The Barbie and Pet Cemetery. Or no, what was it?
What? Barbie Pet Cemetery?
Cemetery?
Yeah,
that'd be
that was
good.
funny. Yeah,
I'd watch
Thanks.
that.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad I made Jake laugh.
Just kind of.
Yeah, so still working on that. Actually, the house is pretty much done for the most part. Now it's like, now I have to build furniture. Oh, God.
Yeah.
You don't know how much furniture is in a house until you build an outline of a house, and you're like, oh, there's nothing in here. Like,
Yeah.
it looks so boring.
Why did I want to do like a 6-bedroom Amityville
Right?
style
Yeah.
thing?
At some point, you always think that. You're like, oh, 3 bedrooms on this side of the house? That's easy. And then you build those 3, and you're like, oh, God, there's so much house left.
Yeah.
And then you like, yeah, there's a lot of that. And then you're like, well, does this room have lighting in the ceiling, or does it have standing lamps? And why would this room have lighting? And
Have some weird, like, just like the largest room be some blank mystery room, and then you write it in later.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just total, like,
The-
shortcut.
there might be a thing like that, kind of, but it's not a
Oh.
mystery room. Like, you know
Nice.
it's there. I don't think you'll be able to get into it right
Little
away.
Easter egg hunt there.
Kind of.
Have you heard of the game Perception?
Yeah.
So that was supposed to
Yes,
come out
because,
last...
like, every YouTuber I follow has been playing it.
Oh, because it came out on PC.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out on console this past Tuesday as well, and it's going to be... It got delayed to next week. But I just think from a house design, like... Because I was listening to the developer on another podcast talking about it, and he said, there are parts of the house where nobody's going to see because, your character can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where you don't want to use the echolocation. So he's put all this effort into some of the house that nobody's ever going to see. And I just thought about, what you're building. Like, does that ever concern you? Like, man, I put all this work into this and nobody's ever going to look at
You have
this.
to with horror, because horror, you have to direct their vision to someplace. And
Yeah.
if you don't, and you make the spooky jump out, then it goes, duh, and they're like, what what? Like they were staring at like a toy or a wall or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what that noise was. And we're like, oh, well, I guess I missed the lady pop out or whatever. There's no like spooky girl in that game.
I would love to see like a good like compilation of those moments in video games.
Yeah,
like that would be really
spook
funny.
fails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
That
really
would be
cool.
funny.
Yeah, it happens a lot in games. And then you have to like design like if you want them to do a certain thing, you have to design it like so they would do that thing.
Yeah,
Like
but
if
not
you
make
wanna,
it over.
like
Like hit you over the head with it.
like the game Layers of Fear. Like if
never
you've
played
seen
it.
anything about that.
No.
That game, a lot of rooms you'll walk into and you'll turn around and something will be like up against you that wasn't there like 2 seconds ago. But that's because you were looking that way.
Yeah.
Like as a developer, you're like, well, if you walk into that room backwards, it can't do that thing because it's going to look stupid.
Yeah.
It's just going to appear there.
Yeah.
So you have to like
Interesting.
build around that.
Huh.
You have to build stuff all to like do that misdirection stuff.
And then, as a game tester, then because you test your own games, like, do you try like, do you think about like what somebody might try to do to break it, or is it hard from a development perspective because you're the one that developed it, right? And now
Yeah.
you're thinking like, what would I do as a player? But
Yeah, you do kind of. There's always people that play it and they do something different. So
yeah,
you're like, no, don't, no. Oh, God. Or like it takes them like 20 minutes to get through a room that there's nothing in there. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh.
yeah.
Like, oh, God, Nightlight was that so bad.
I was gonna say Nightlight. I saw some of the videos.
Some of
that
the
people
videos
posted.
that people would
Yeah.
go all the way to the very end and be like,
Yes.
I don't know what to do because there's a light like intentionally trying to guide the player there, like kind of psychologically being like, go towards the light.
Yeah.
And like they get all the way to the bottom, they're like, I don't know where to go. And then they walk all the way back to the beginning because there's nothing preventing you from doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's
and then they wouldn't cut it from the video, so I had to sit and watch them be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for like 10 minutes to get all the way back.
They never got the hint. I mean, because that sounds like a brilliant mechanic.
Well, like,
actually,
The problem too is like the design of it. So if you design a house and you kind of lead them in a direction, but you put a little room to the left or a little like ledge or something they can see, they'll go straight to that ledge.
Sure.
They won't go to like where you want them to go because they want to explore.
should still be able to see the light. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
should still be like, you're getting warmer, you're getting colder. Like that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah,
It could
well,
surprise
like
you.
Naughty Dog and a lot of big studios use that. They use light to like guide your eye and stuff like that. Journey does it and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is. There's always people that are like, oh, I got to go check this thing out. And you're like, oh, there's nothing there. I
Yeah.
didn't put anything there.
That's
Yeah.
such a subconscious element. I've never realized.
Or it's
that.
one of those things where like they go and do a thing that like doesn't break the game, but like you can tell it's wonky and they're doing something with it and playing with it. And you're like, stop.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore. It's bad.
Well, it's funny that you say that about like exploring areas that you're like, I didn't build anything there. Why are you even looking at that? Because I'll do that with games that I play. I'm like, okay, before I leave this floor, I'm going to go to every room
Yeah.
to make sure that there's nothing else in here, and then I'll go to the next floor. Like a game that I did that a lot with was Quest of Dungeons. I would check every room before going into the next level.
Yeah.
Just because that's how I play games. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not that there's nothing there. It's just that the important stuff isn't there.
Yeah.
Because as the developer, like, where all the things are. Like,
Yeah.
all the scary things, all the, like, things to read and the plot points and all the stuff. And, yeah.
Oh,
But it's cool to mess with people because I did that in Nightlight. I misdirected someone. At the beginning of the game, you go up to this one spot, and then as soon as you come back, there's like a giant monster standing there waiting for you.
Right.
And it does nothing, but you can see it before you even get close to it. And that's where everyone, like, that's the best part of that game, watching those videos.
when they get there, like, what is that? Holy!
Yeah. Or they start walking around, they don't notice at first, and then they go, and then they just stop. And you look at the character, or the player's face, and it's just like mouth open. Like there's just a moment of like, what the hell?
It would be really cool to bring back like the Sega CD and Saturn experiments where you just take a photorealistic shots of the room, like just as it is here or wherever in a house. So you just go through the house and you take pictures and whatever, and then you can just make some things interactive, for
Like-
whatever reason.
like Night
But then-
Trap.
Exactly. Like,
that game's coming out, you know
but
that,
now,
right?
Oh, are you kidding? Like,
Okay.
oh, geez, I'm like waiting for them to be like, it's coming out.
Are you actually
That's
gonna?
gonna be a limited run.
It is.
title.
Are you actually gonna play the game, or are you just gonna buy it?
That stays sealed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Coming
will.
out with the digital copy too, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're
Like,
coming with
the-
digital and physical. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. A lot of people are doing that lately, and that's good.
By the
because,
way,
you know-
limited run is coming out with Home now too. Did you see that?
Oh no, that must
horror
have been
game?
just announced.
Yeah, that was like today, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, they're really nailing those like good like indie titles. Like it's fun. I mean, it's really cool to keep them alive forever.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought there was a game that you were showing me, sir, fairly recently, where it was realistic walls and stuff. I don't remember what it was. It was a horror game. I don't remember.
No idea.
Okay, I don't remember either.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, working
Cool.
on houses.
Cool.
Barbie
Nice,
houses.
which is cool because House was just announced.
Home. But yeah,
Oh.
I mean, yeah. Ben Rivers, the guy who made that game, is the one I talked to during development of Nightlight, because Nightlight was also a pixel 2D horror
cool.
game. And that's what Home is.
Cool.
So that's his game that's being
That's awesome.
limited running.
Did you know that?
Limited runned. Like, limited
Nice.
run.
Dude, limited run, you
Yeah.
just
It's
got
like I verbed it.
Yeah. Did you know that when you were talking to him that that was going to be? Did he know? Did they know when Limited Run is going to be like republishing their games?
Probably.
All right.
Yeah, they gotta space that stuff out though. You know.
It's happening more frequently now, though.
Every 2 weeks, just about, and sometimes it's multiple titles.
Was Blue Rider a limited run game?
No, that was a Play Asia
Oh, okay.
exclusive,
Okay.
which now there are 4 of.
Okay.
Now, why would I end a sentence with a preposition?
Words are words, Jake. All right, should we move on to the news?
Yes.
Yeah, that
All
was.
right, let's go on to the GamerHeads news flash.
The GamerHeads News Flash.
Some of the items. Red Dead 2 delayed. But you know, funny thing is, everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm so looking forward to playing this fall." We've said since podcast number 1, you can go back and listen to our podcast. It's not coming out next year.
Yeah.
It's not coming out.
Duh.
I know. I don't know.
That's because it's
You're
like
on this podcast, Jake. You should know that.
But I saw the leak where it said 2/10,
Yeah, I remember you saying that,
17, and I just.
and you were like, "Oh, it's coming out this November." I'm like, "It's not, Jake. It's not." And you know what? It's not.
No, because I.
But it's probably a good thing because all the other games that are coming out this fall-ish, right? I mean, there's so many other good games coming out.
The Crash trilogy, getting those trophies, because I know I got 100 and whatever percent, 120% and all that crap. Like, oh, it's
See,
so fun.
I get the opposite because like the people I follow on Twitter are all artists, and they're all like trashing that game hard.
Really?
Because the redo art in that game is just like completely different than the original in some cases, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
That's interesting because,
But it's like a real artist perspective, you know. It's not like necessarily gameplay and stuff.
How do I verbalize a hand palm?
Facepalm? You can make the noise if you hit hard enough.
oh, don't
Just don't do it.
just don't do it.
I almost did.
It's interesting that you say that because, I mean, this is going off topic a little bit, but Toy Story 3, when that came out, the people that animated that were like kids when the first Toy Story came out. And they had to go into the vaults and basically dumb down the technology to make the animation close to what the original was.
I really appreciated that game for some reason. It was
Toy
like
Story
a guilty
3?
pleasure of mine.
3?
Yeah,
Oh, I never played
no
it.
joke.
That's a
'Cause there's-
game?
Yeah, there's 2
I think
parts
there's a
of it.
predecessor to the Disney Infinity. The idea of
it
the
was
toy
an
box.
Open world toy box.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was also the 2D side scrolling parts though.
Hmm.
Actually, there was like 2 versions, the classic and the toy box.
Yeah.
And it was actually like oddly fun.
Really?
I guess again it was that whole like collecting things and making it just easy enough. But like it's easy enough for like anybody to beat it, including kids. But if you want to like actually like get all this stuff, like it's challenging as all heck. Actually, it's one of those. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Red Dead 2 has been delayed. The other thing, trailer for the Castlevania cartoon on Netflix came out. Did you guys see that?
Nope.
Okay. See, you guys are not a big Castlevania fan as I am.
Not really, yeah.
Oh, man, it looks so good. So if I remember correctly, these are the same people that do the Adventure Time, I think.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah, actually the animation looks really cool. And it looks pretty violent.
I think that's why like a lot of people are happy about it.
Yeah. It looks very raw. I don't know. It looks good. I'm excited about it.
Sweet. You can watch that while I'll play Red Dead.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
It's coming out this fall.
I think so.
Cool.
Or somewhat. Either this fall or this summer even. I'm not sure.
Oh, so way before Red Dead.
Yeah, way
It's
before
just
Red
like,
Dead.
I think I'm going to change the calendar to before Red Dead 2 and after Red Dead 2.
Sure.
It'll just be Ard
Yeah.
or Bird.
Far Cry 5 was announced.
Didn't watch the trailer.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Oh! Yeah, that was a cool trailer.
You
Sorry.
did see,
You watched
you
it?
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll...
You can go. No, go ahead. What do you think?
It was funny. It tells us nothing about the game.
Expertly reviewed.
Yeah.
Like honestly, all they showed us was like openness. Like it was. Can I
Well,
say?
do you know what Montana is?
Yeah.
It's just openness.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
in real life.
Yeah.
Especially
It's just
a long
like
time
air
ago.
and nothing.
Yeah.
Especially a long time ago, which is when it takes place, or at least like.
What?
Well,
When it
it's-
takes a long
it
time
seemed
ago,
as
it's
such.
modern time.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay. Well, it's
Jake,
just
did you
seemed-
even watch?
No, the
Did you watch
Prairie
the
Church,
Far Cry
it
Primal?
seemed like really, really
Right.
old, actually.
Well,
Like-
I think it's supposed to
guess-
be secluded cult.
Okay,
Type.
so this is pretty messed up. Like literally a week before this thing came out, I was on Netflix and there's a documentary about the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh,
Right?
okay, yeah.
And that documentary goes big into the whole like was it
Waco?
far right in Waco and
Yep.
like all these like secluded things.
Yeah.
So that creeped me out really bad
Yeah.
because that just like messes with me.
Yeah.
And then this thing comes out and I'm like, I don't even want to see the trailer after watching something like that because it's like I know Far Cry Primal is like that's like what happened back in the
Yeah.
day and like, but man, it's like it's so close
Relevant?
to home compared
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
relevant compared to some of the other ones. I'm
Yeah.
sure like I haven't played like what is it 3 and 4 where they're set in other countries.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Oh, that's a
more
good idea.
relevant there, but it's
Did
just
they-
so weird to me.
Did they take that Oregon scenario? Like, I hate to get political or whatever, but
Are you talking
remember,
about,
like, there's
those-
a federal land, and they're
Yeah,
like,
those
that's our
two brothers. Are those brothers?
I don't know.
land. The Bundys?
The Bundys, yeah.
Well-
I don't think so. I don't think they. I mean,
The wiki said something about how the people in the county you're in are going against the group of the area, like that you're kind of like trying to infiltrate or whatever. Whereas like a lot of times the people of the area are with those people
Yeah.
and they're against the government, which
Yeah.
is usually, which is also how I think Far Cry 5 said it starts or something. There's a whole government
Dude
thing.
who choke slammed a reporter got elected.
Oh,
yeah.
So I believe
Was
you.
that in? I don't know. Was that was in Montana? Wasn't that?
Twas.
Yeah. Bet you he's in the game too.
Probably is now. Yeah.
It would be like an OP character.
Yeah.
There was something they said they put in because of the plot being so dark and stuff like that. Something with like every character has a different like ideology and stuff because of like everything being so like relevant and close to home and
Cool.
dark in tone.
That's way beyond the trailer.
Well,
Yeah.
just even the picture itself depicts the Last Supper.
right. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's religious undertones or
Right. Yeah.
overtones. I'm not sure.
That's how most of those like culty type things are,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that what you call them? Cults? Like,
Yeah, I would say that.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's a cult
yeah.
Militias?
Or
Or
militias.
militia.
Yeah, that's kind of.
or both, culty militias.
But yeah,
Sometimes, yeah.
for me, just too creepy that it happened that close to something I watched that's about that exact topic in
Yeah.
recent years, like the 90s.
No
Well,
kidding.
and it's
yeah.
weird, right? Because I mean, obviously, they had been working on that game for some time, and then
Right?
just be like, "Oh man,
They
we
probably
have a
just
gold
like
mine here."
they're like, Wait until Matt watches it on Netflix.
Yeah.
There, he watched it.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, wait, no, release.
Released. Yeah. Make public.
Waiting.
They had it on YouTube already. They just flipped it from private to public.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because of me.
Yeah,
They're just like-
exactly.
You're welcome, players.
Man, the if in that algorithm was just like...
Yeah. Well,
waiting
I think
for
it,
you.
some of it leaked, right? First,
Yeah.
some of it leaked out.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Some
maybe-
pictures and stuff.
Is that why? And maybe that's why it's so bare bones. They don't really tell us much in the trailer. That's for sure.
Mm.
So it's cool to hear all that info.
But
actually,
according to you,
Yeah, I was surprised the wiki had quite a bit of stuff.
it takes place a long
Yeah,
time ago.
exactly. It takes place back in prehistoric times. It's
cool.
also
The 90s.
yeah,
Dude, can I just explain this one part of it?
yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay? Like
Well,
spoiler.
It's just a trailer.
It's just a trailer,
Spoiler,
unless you
okay.
played the game.
No, it's cool
Okay.
because they're like going over this beautiful like prairie area, and there's mountains in the background. So one would assume it's a valley. So you're going through this prairie valley, and then like in the distance you see like an old white church, and they wore simple clothes. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I think I know what part you're talking. The
Right.
bell ringing thing.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and you hear the bell ringing, and it gets closer, and it's a
Yeah.
dude getting his head smashed into the bell, like. Ding,
Yeah, by another guy,
ding.
just like, yeah. And that's what's making the bell noise.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
two hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
have,
sounds
I
scary.
saw that like in a GIF or something.
Yeah.
You know, I have Primal. I have not really gotten into the Far. I've always heard Far Cry games are really fantastic. I started playing Primal. And it's good.
The last one I played was Far Cry.
The first one.
The first one.
Oh, really?
Made by a completely different studio, Crytek.
I heard 3 is really good, and I do have 3.
I've wanted to play them, but it's my same principle of pulling another Grand Theft Auto onto my plate. You know, it's like this
Yeah.
big open worldy thing where I'm sure if I play one of them, I've played like the next 2.
Yeah.
Especially with 3, 4, and 5 probably are very similar mechanically.
No
Yeah.
offense to the series, but for my tastes and my lifestyle currently, when I hear a term like Far Cry, I think distracting. Like you know, by the time I get to the next objective, there's like 3 other
Right.
darn things that are going on. There.
Yeah. It's like the Bethesda syndrome or the
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
Primal's the only one that's ever kind of interested me just because it's kind of unique. More
Yeah.
unique than I'd say the other ones are, other than the voice acting and stuff, and the other one's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. The thing, and this is just me, but I actually prefer third person versus first person. I have a really hard time with Battlefield 1. The other night, I had a really hard
dude,
time
we
with
should
that.
play tonight.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
But Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, because I can pull back, I'm kind of good at that game. But I can also distinguish between Rebels and the Stormtroopers too. I had a hard time. Anyway.
Oh, like distinguishing
Yeah.
good guys and bad
Yeah.
guys. Oh.
The other thing, I have 2 more stories. Microsoft changed
Good.
Beam
That's
to
the good
Mixer.
MS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys hear that?
What?
So,
Yeah. Well, no.
so
I just heard it
Microsoft-
from you.
Oh, okay. I did. It's news. I just heard it right now. So Microsoft has Beam, their competitor to Twitch.
The Twitch killer.
Yeah. And they changed the name to Mixer. And the one thing that's kind of cool about this is that you can have, on one screen, you can have up to 4 streams. So if you have like 4 people
Oh, yeah, I
playing-
did see that. That was interesting.
Yeah. So like us 3 were playing a game together, somebody could watch just one stream of it, watch it on their screen and see all 3 of us.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to make them like win the war with Twitch.
No, I mean Twitch is
Not
so
at all.
embedded in. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that you can, record YouTube, and we do have a YouTube channel, by the way.
What was it?
was
Napster. Napster was
Oh.
embedded, and
Yeah.
then Kazaa.
Well, yeah, but those were different, Jake. Those were like illegal programs.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying in that kind of like application style.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Napster was really like big, and Kazaa was pretty big.
No, yeah. Oh,
Wait, what? How is this related?
I don't know. Something about how it's embedded
Oh.
in the culture. I agree with you, because Napster was huge, but it was also illegal. So, like,
I know that makes
That
it
cracked-
not similar.
Well, I mean, that's why I think we don't have a Napster anymore. I mean, it moved into more of like the iTunes music, wouldn't you say?
Fine.
I think Napster is still a thing.
Is it?
I think so.
And not owned by the same dude.
No, it's like they tried to like
It
revamp
was
it.
like,
and stuff.
oh.
It's
Make
like one
it
of those
legit.
things they buy for the name, and then they try and be like, "Hey guys, MySpace is still a thing," and you're
Yeah.
like, no, Justin Timberlake, it's not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
MySpace was embedded into our culture for a while.
Yeah. Now Justin Timberlake owns like half of it.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a partner or something.
Oh, weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sounds kind of cool. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
The last thing is not game related, but I thought this was kind of interesting. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band
Oh, God.
celebrating 50 years,
You know,
and the box set came out. It sounds
the
amazing.
remastered box
Yeah.
set by
Remastered by his George Martin's son.
the son of
Yeah.
the original producer.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I need to go
Dude,
get
that
it.
last chord, dude. Like I heard this on NPR, and it was so cool. To like every single time. Like, are you familiar?
Yeah,
with the
absolutely.
last chord of the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
song.
It's the longest
it's-
chord held.
Oh, it's so good too because it does sound like it could go forever.
Yeah.
And they really accomplished that by adding like dissonance and by having 3 pianos, and so they were like not perfectly tuned. So
Yeah.
it kind of just kept the waves going. Like, oh, it was good.
I agree. The Foo Fighters song that came out today was really good.
Really? They're
you hear
still
the new one?
kicking It? No,
It's good.
No
The
way.
video, directed by Dave Grohl,
Respect.
it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Any
Oh, really?
directs?
But it's a little not safe for work at one point. Just
Oh,
like
really?
if you're really finicky about that stuff.
Yeah.
No,
But it's
that's good.
hilarious.
So don't listen to it at work.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you
I mean, you can
definitely
listen to the song.
You definitely
just
need to
don't
watch
video.
it and like appreciate the song, and then watch it and be like, "Wow, this video's messed up," and then watch it again and be like, "Wow, this is really messed
Oh,
up."
really?
Like
I
just
saw that you posted it on Facebook.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. A
Oh,
lot of
I
people
really
are sharing
like
it because they're just like, "Hey, guess what? Out of nowhere, here's a song."
Yeah, that's really surprising and
Yeah.
cool.
Oh.
So yeah, I love the notes that they hold in that one too.
You should. If I get the box set, I'll lend it to you because you should listen to it. I mean, it's what they did with it makes it sound like the songs were just written like today. It's so good.
My dad's got like one of the older box sets, and
Yeah.
like I've never been interested in like later Beatles, like ever.
Really?
Yeah, my favorites are like the very early CDs, like their first couple hits.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I liked the early stuff, but Sgt. Pepper's just was so groundbreaking.
There was
So good.
some like the weird like LSD style stuff was like a little weird, but there are plenty of good still poppy songs, and
Yeah.
like to think it's like probably 10 years after they started.
Yeah.
I mean in England, not like they're popular.
I think you gotta move closer, Jake.
I don't know. I don't really. I'm very modest about talking about the Beatles because I'm no expert, so I probably shouldn't have an opinion.
Okay,
All right. So moving on. So let's take a break here, and then when we come back, we are going to talk about our hot topic,
Which is?
which
No?
is
Can we?
well,
oh, they'll have to stick around.
yeah, they'll
Don't
stick
talk
around
about
when they
it.
come back from the break. Hey Gamerheads, join me Wednesday nights at 8:30 Central Time for a segment we like to call Kick Roger's Butt at Video Games. That's right, I'll be on PlayStation 4 and you can add me at Rogue Leader 76 and play games with me and kick my butt because I really suck at video games. You can also watch it on Twitch and follow me at Rogue Leader 76 on Twitch to watch. Thanks everyone and hope to see you then. Welcome back to GamerHeads. And tonight's topic, hot topic, Jake, I know this really excites you. Our topic for tonight that we will debate, if video games influence your thoughts and morals, and if actions in video games really kind of predict or tell who you are as a person.
Nope, we're done.
Okay.
I agree.
You
Roger.
agree? That,
It said, "Do you?" It was a "Do you think?"
yeah, not do you agree?
No. I
Okay.
agree with no.
Do you think?
Oh,
no.
okay. No, I do not think. So this actually stems from a summer class, I guess. We kind of talked about
We
this
talked about it last time.
Yeah, we did. And I thought it would be a good topic to have as a hot topic this week because it's kind of carrying over from last episode. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, pause right now. Listen to the last episode.
No, listen to this first and then go back to that
okay.
one.
All right.
Cool.
I hate that in YouTube videos where someone's like, pause this one and go to this other one. It's like, no, I'm just gonna watch yours or nothing.
There is no prequel disclaimer.
Yeah.
So, so there's this summer class here at Stevens Point where we record, where there's going to be, for middle schoolers or in junior high, I think, debates about morality and can you be taught morality through games. And
is there a debate or are they being indoctrinated?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, but like
I have to infiltrate one of these.
The different things are like not just about like that though, not just about morals.
No. But one of his presentations this professor gave was if video games can teach violence or people to be violent, can it also teach people to have morals and teach them to be courageous, for instance? Can you learn courage through video games?
Well, that's the thing, though. Then there's no causal link because I'm pretty sure nobody's ever proven that video games or movies or any sort of entertainment can cause anybody to be violent.
Right.
Yeah, and see, that's the problem that I have right there is the heart of this, right?
That he's teaching something not based on fact.
Yeah, like, I don't think that video games do teach violence. I mean, I've heard this since I was a kid when I played D&D. Oh, look at you. You play Dungeons & Dragons. You must be a devil worshiper. And you must be, like, evil. If you play a character as a thief in Dungeons & Dragons, you play a thief. That's who you are. But that doesn't mean who you are as a person. It's the same with games.
Yeah.
If I play a game as a character, I'm playing that game as a character. I'm not playing it as me. And a lot of times I'll play games where, like, the consequences are, who cares what happens, right? Like, I know they're not real. I know the consequences aren't real. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to make those same decisions in real life. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You get that, like, a lot as a developer. Like,
yeah.
Especially a horror developer when you're like, I'm going to make this game. You're going to murder a bunch of people. And then people are like, yeah? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, why?
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to murder a bunch of people. Like, and then you're like, oh, they think that's like a bad thing. Like,
Dude, yeah.
It's like, because as people like make games, there's like parts of the games that they make are just like surface level. And then there's parts of the games that they make that are like deeper that are supposed to be like a meta commentary on something. Sure. And that's the stuff that they're like trying to get over, get across. Yeah. You don't play BioShock. The person making BioShock isn't like, oh, I'm making BioShock gory because I want it to be gory and I want to murder someone.
Right.
Like, they're making BioShock because they want to teach you about, like, all this philosophy stuff that happens on the outskirt sections of the murder and stuff that happens in the game, right?
Yeah.
The moral stuff.
Yeah.
Which in itself, being philosophical, oftentimes talks about morality, which is ironic.
Yeah, but me as a human, I am a human. Me as a player, though, I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily taught morality through playing that game. I mean, granted, I understand a lot of the concept of what they're trying to,
You could have someone else's take on it be shown to you, and that could give you a different perspective on it. It doesn't mean it's going to change you. Yeah, that's like, and I guess that's my point.
I think it has to be like a blockbuster, like, kind of also, like, I don't know. I guess what I think of is like I've played like thousands of video games, probably literally, but there's only like a few that I can be like, that really influenced my childhood, or
right.
But
like Alan Wake, I know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, can they, like, I guess if you're a certain kind of person already and a game is on the same wavelength as that personality, then absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. Then it probably maybe enhances that personality.
That's why horror and killer games, it's like, does a crazy dude who also like slashes his wrists and listens to like hardcore music and like do all of these other things and whatever, like, if that's the kind of person he was, then obviously he was crying out, and then that's what it is. It's not that that stuff made him who he is.
Yes.
Right.
It's the other way around.
Do you think that stuff could aggravate that though, or like escalate that? I guess that would be like the devil's advocate.
See, and I don't think so.
That's where there's no proof. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be like saying, well, then you shouldn't go see
idea.
plays, and you shouldn't go watch TV or see movies.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm
music.
just saying like all that stuff.
The
not just
tragedies
games.
have been around for a long time, and same thing with the movies. Like, what are the best-selling movies almost every time?
We
They're
were just
R-rated.
talking about the Beatles.
They're R-rated.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Beatles.
Yeah.
John Lennon, the book that whatever his name read before he shot
Oh,
John Lennon.
Charles Manson.
No.
No.
Mark David Chaplin.
Oh, you mean the one that shot John Lennon?
Right.
I thought you meant no, because Charles Manson apparently was influenced by what was the song?
Oh, jeez.
Helter Skelter.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, no. Like, the guy who killed
yeah,
John Lennon,
Yeah.
supposedly the book told him to do it, right? Like, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Right?
but
But,
don't you
see,
but I mean, like,
again-
I get that he's crazy. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Before the book.
yeah,
There's-
right,
Like,
exactly.
I get that.
There's
Right.
people who say a certain book told them to do crazy things in the regards of politics too, but like most people can agree.
There's like a book that like a bunch of people follow that
Yeah,
like
that
it
apparently tells
influences
them
like
what to do.
It influences like wars and like how people like
Live?
react.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
And
crazy.
see,
I know.
what's weird is like there could be like billions of people who follow the book, and only maybe a couple hundred or thousand of them would do crazy things and then use that book as an excuse. But
That's
like,
true.
most people should agree that not everybody who reads the book is actually influenced by the book, and maybe there's just some crazy people who use the book as an excuse for their actions.
Exactly. That's well said in a strange voice.
Words are words in a strange voice, even. If you didn't get the reference, by the way, the words are words is from our interview.
That's like a hybrid.
To throw that in there a little bit. Our interview on the Gamer Stand podcast. You should go check that out.
Thanks again for having us if you're listening. That
Yeah.
was so good.
But so I agree. I mean, it's so weird to me. Like, so I'll for instance, I'll go see a play, and we talked about this even in our podcast. But you go see a play, and you hear you see something that might be a commentary on our society, right? Like a Shakespeare play. That certainly can take things from Shakespeare's time and apply it, or from his plays, and apply it to our society and say, wow, like this was something that they dealt with back then and we still deal with it now. But it won't like change who I am per se. I think I still, I still be that person. I might think, I'll have like introspectives about the play itself. The same with games and even this podcast. I mean, we've talked about this before, that we want people to listen to this podcast and think about what it means, what do they think about, right? About games and stuff like that. So
Do you think it could aggravate someone who is maybe not as sound in their mind as you? Like, you know what I'm saying?
But if that,
like, just
but
because
anything
like
would then. I mean, it wouldn't take video games, right? I mean,
I know.
I'm
I'm saying anything.
Yeah.
I know we're specifically talking about video games, but like it could be any form of media.
And I think, sorry, I'm just going to say one last thing about that, though. But I think that the thing that makes me upset about video games is that video games always get the bad rap about this, right? It's not like, I mean, granted, music has probably too in the past, and other genres, but it always seems to come back to video games like, oh, look at Grand Theft Auto. You go around and kill people and steal cars. Well,
Yeah.
that's what made that person into a bad person.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like reality says that like most of our budget goes to like killing people. Like that's real life. Like, so to blame like video games for somehow just using stuff that like it's not fantasy. Murdering people is not fantasy. That happens in the real world. We see it on the news all the time. Nobody blames the news for causing somebody to go nuts. Unless,
actually,
of course, they see somebody who, again, influences them. But again, that is based on the person themselves. Because this is my point. Even without video games, those same people would find something to latch onto.
Yeah.
Even if no fantasy world existed, they can use the world in which they live to find something and say, oh, I agree with that ideology. I agree with that thought. I agree with that philosophy, to the point where like they're gonna use that as the excuse for their actions, because they're not in control of their actions. They're obviously not in control of their actions when they do something extremist.
Okay, so we're going one way where we're saying like, we all think we all agree, saying that we don't think that video games instill violence in somebody. Somebody may have already been that way, right?
Like, a devil's advocate, actually, I just came up with a thought that, like, when I was 13, was there certain movies or songs that made me feel like love felt a certain way, made me yearn for certain things, and maybe even try to attain those things? Like,
Maybe that's why you're studly omelet.
Yeah, maybe.
it literally is.
Oh
It's
my
frozen
God.
in time, you know? Back then,
I
that's... Yeah, dude.
It's like subconscious level there.
I will say this. I think that sometimes the feelings that I have, right, and then I'll play a song, like Beatles got me through a lot of heartbreaks, right? So I'd listen to a lot of like love songs from the Beatles. And it wasn't so much that the music made me feel that way. It was I had the feelings, I listened to the music, and it was like a way for me to cope with my feelings, right?
Almost a device for amplification of those feelings.
That's what I was saying. Like, you could argue that those things amplify.
Or escape. Like I use video games to escape some of like my
good point, though, for violence.
But it depends on the person.
I guess.
One person could see it and use it as something that amplifies their feelings of certain whatever. And another person could use it as a stress reliever to, stop feeling that way.
Yeah,
You know?
there were certain like sad songs or whatever that when I was feeling depressed, like I'd go to it, or even movies. Or,
Yeah,
like
there's
even...
albums I always turn on when I get like angry or something, and then like that album calms me down. But like I know that album for other people has made them extremely depressed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's got a different feeling for other people.
Like, how can people listen to Elliott Smith and then be like, that was great? I don't know. Anybody who knows who he is would be like, yeah, no.
I don't just see someone get really mad and then be like, oh, and then like turn on Bach and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, finally.
So but going the other
Bach
opposite,
made
though.
me do it.
Yeah. That was actually a problem in the 1800s, actually.
No, Listomania.
Listen to this lick that,
That
Bach
was-
just recorded last week.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Oh, stab, stab, stab.
Yeah.
Franz Liszt actually was so popular that it made people go into like a craze, like young women. It was like the first time that
Really?
that it was like he was basically the first like pop
Pop star?
star.
Yeah.
Where like and I guess people who normally wouldn't go, oh my god, oh
Well, I
my
thought
god.
Mozart was
he
the
made
same
them
way, though.
do that. He
thought-
made people faint.
I thought Mozart was kind of like that, though, too.
Was he?
Oh,
I
Mozart
think
died
he
of
died when he was
syphilis.
16.
Yes, from, you know what he died of?
So I don't think he was that
Syphilis.
much of a
That's what he died
superstar,
of.
though.
No, he had a lot of sex, dude. A lot of sex.
It's just,
Why is there not a video game about this?
But, so, going the other way, though, can video games instill morality into somebody? Or make you feel courage, instill courage into you?
I think moral people will see the morals in a video game, and immoral people will neglect them. Just like again with anything, like
I don't know. I don't know if it can long term. I think short term maybe is more possible.
See, and I think it's the same thing maybe with the violence thing. It's not so much that they're going to instill it. Maybe it make you think about something differently, just for a moment. Maybe change your paradigm on something.
Right, and that's what I mean by short term.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to change you as a person, it takes more than just, typically it takes more than one experience. And like,
Yeah, like if they put out a sequel, then you're definitely
yeah,
done.
exactly.
I played Red Dead 1, kind of like the horses. Red Dead 2, I married a horse.
Yeah.
Because like they were in there, and I was like, yeah, this is my calling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's great.
I became a train conductor
Well,
because
I
they
mean-
were in Red Dead.
Let's face it, people don't get tattoos of like one season of some show that happened in 1987. Usually, like I don't know.
Some people,
yeah,
I bet there's
yeah,
some
okay.
Dragon Ball tattoos out there.
No doubt. The point is, the majority of them, it's going to be like series that were pounded into you.
Sure.
Any pop culture reference, it's going to be those
Yeah,
things.
but
where...
but just because I
But
get a
I've
tattoo,
seen Alan Wake tattoos, and there's only one of those games.
Nice.
Yeah, that's true. And
I'd totally get one.
Okay, so you're a huge Alan Wake fan. Like,
You bet I am. You want to fight about it?
no, I don't. So, do you think that your perception of the world has changed because of Alan Wake?
Of the world?
Yeah.
Questionable. Probably not.
Yeah.
But do you think like who you are?
Alan Wake also shines a flashlight in people's faces, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm melting!"
You
So, like,
shined a light onto my view of the world.
if I go up to someone and like, I don't know, walk into like a bank one day and be like, everyone get on the floor and start waving a flashlight around, they're gonna be like, "Bang, you're dead."
Yeah.
and then I'll be done for.
Or they'll laugh
They'll
at
just
you.
be like,
'cause
"Yeah,
of the
he's just
flashlight.
crazy."
Do you think that Alan Wake instilled courage in you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
I think maybe it might have instilled courage from a development side, right?
No, I was just thinking about that. Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
Through literature and commercials, I think it's pretty well known that like people who fight and die for their country is pretty glorified and like a beautiful thing and very like, and like,
right.
I think, it's wonderful. People, especially considering they died for their families more than they died for their countries.
I think maybe that might be the difference or the reason why Alan Wake didn't do that as much to me. Is that it's not as like glorified as like, let's say, a Call of Duty series or something is with war, and it's not as like overly desensitized as like the new Doom is. Granted, you're killing like demons and stuff, but like there's a lot of blood in that game. Just like the original Doom, there was a lot of uproar because there was so much blood and stuff in it, even though you were killing demons. Right. But it was very like it's over, sensualized. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
But it's like when you watch a Michael Bay movie and there's explosions everywhere. Like they don't need the explosions everywhere. Right. You don't need the blood everywhere. Yeah. But some of these games, that's just the way they want to present it. So like,
it's an art style.
I think that can push buttons a little more than if there was less of that. I think the same with movies. Like if you watch a movie and there's a ton of blood in it versus a movie that there's that same movie with less blood, probably not as much of an effect. That's probably why Nintendo doesn't like a ton of blood in their games.
That stuff is always sold a whole bunch, and it's never really influenced society one way or another. Most people argue that like violent crimes are going down, but like the sales of something like Grand Theft Auto are higher than they were for NFL Blitz, which were high. The after the whistle hits, which were banned eventually. Like we can run around and shoot rocket launchers at police, but I'll be damned if you hit a linebacker after the whistle is blown.
Yeah,
it's weird how we censor some things, but like it goes back and back. Mortal Kombat and like, oh geez, there's all these situations where it's too violent and it's not.
I think the fact I've struggled with it a lot because like I always wonder because the big argument is the difference between video games and other mediums is that they're interactive.
Yeah.
Right. The question is like how that interactivity like influences you.
Exactly. Yeah. So like Fallout 4 on VR, that might be a whole different subject matter.
Like if I watch, this might go off topic a little bit, but if I watch Fast and Furious or something, which I think those movies look stupid, so I'd never do that.
What?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So if I watch that movie versus played Burnout or something for an hour, and then I go drive my car down the road, like, have you ever done that and being like, whoa, this feels super weird because I'm not going like 1,000,000 miles an hour. If you watch a movie where that's happening, it doesn't have the same feeling like just physically to you.
Sure.
Let's look at VR that can like make you sick just by, taking it off and being like, or if you played a Guitar Hero back in the day and you stare at the screen too long without blinking and then you look somewhere else and it looks like everything's moving away from you.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a different effect on you than a game or a movie.
Yeah.
Granted, if Guitar Hero was a movie and all they showed you was that for 2 hours, you'd probably throw up and then come out of the theater and think everything's like running away from you.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was, when VR was first announced, I think that was a concern of everybody. It was like, oh, what's it going to be like when you come out of like a 3-hour session of VR? Are you going to be all like, whoa, like I feel sick, or I can't distinguish reality from virtual reality?
Yeah. So like physically, there's definitely a difference there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think that.
But that also can be in how a movie is shot differently than a game is shot.
Absolutely. But I also think that I don't know if I get courage instilled in me from playing these games. Like, for instance, Battlefield 1. I was playing that with Jake last night. I died a lot. Because
that's probably why you don't have any courage.
No. I feel like I was more courageous in that game than I would have been in real life. If I was. That's the point of a game. It's a power fantasy. But it almost always is. I know, but if I had to go to like war, right, or if I was in World War One. And I would never be like, oh, this like all of a sudden like I was teleported to World War One. Oh man, that game really instilled courage in me. I can't wait to go and
But the problem is that games are limited in their scope.
Yes.
Like you were saying, one of this guy's talks or whatever is about how Call of Duty, like how you can react in war. Like in real life, and you know, versus using Call of Duty as an example or whatever.
What kinds of actions are permitted in times of war? Explore Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Right, like in Battlefield and Call of Duty, you can't do everything you can do in real life because they don't code it all, obviously.
There's very
not only that,
immoral decisions. That
you
are
don't have the option of doing anything but fight in the war.
You can.
you don't have no free will in that game.
You are always following orders. It's true.
You can turn your gun on a commander in that game, and basically, like, they turn off the shoot mechanic, right? Like in Doom and stuff does that too. You aim at someone important, you can't kill them. Right. Like, you could do that in real life. You shouldn't do that, but they're saying you shouldn't do that by not putting it in the game.
These immoral choices that I don't want to stand up for. I'm going to shoot you in the face.
So, like
totally. I mean,
that whole discussion is like it's a moot point because you can't do everything.
You don't have free will.
Yeah, you're still being pushed by a developer to do stuff.
Yes. No doubt.
Even in Grand Theft Auto, like it's not like you can do anything in that game.
That's where it's about as effective as any other form of, like, dare I say, propaganda. And that's, I guess, what I was getting at before. I'm not to say that, like, anybody who, like, fights in wars or whatever aren't, like, they don't deserve the respect they get. What I'm saying, though, is like, it's a lot more nitty gritty and crappy and, like, you know, like, that crap's real, and they're 18 to 25 years old. They're not, like, grizzled men. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
they're impressionable.
And the thing is, though, like, most people, including myself, generally through video games and literature and even video games made by the Army, America's Army. That was totally a thing, actually. Oh, really? So, like, can influence be done if it's done as a whole, like, collectively? Like, can there be thoughts that, like, oh, dying for your country is really great and beautiful and wonderful? Like, yeah, I guess it could be done.
Yeah.
But I don't need a video game.
So, yes, video games are propaganda.
No, I guess I'm saying...
I mean, they are.
But
they are.
So is music. So really, is video.
Right.
So is
some
exactly
levels.
As any percentage of any action or entertainment or any other thing that you do in life.
Right.
Sure.
Anything is.
Comic books. I mean, World War II, Captain America was created to be propaganda.
Yeah, Watchmen.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
I mean, yeah, you could argue this for things not only like that, but like a teacher in a classroom.
Yeah.
Talking about history.
Exactly.
Still
the
at
books
its
that
very
they use.
Well, not even that, but like
experience.
The school itself is going to have, you know, things they need to hit. They need to hit this many students, you know, major and whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the school's got an agenda at some low level.
Absolutely.
It's probably not a necessarily evil like agenda, but they're still going to be like pushing, we need to do this thing.
Well, even professors, I mean, they have their own agenda because they have their own, you know, thought on a certain thing, and they'll push subconsciously or consciously their agenda on the students, right? Like,
right.
I feel like that has more influence on me than a video game.
I'm so glad I wasn't a philosophy major because I bet that's like just rampant in that, like.
Yep. I was a philosophy major.
That's how you got so screwed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think games are like necessarily any more propaganda than other, and I don't think they're more effective on you as propaganda.
Well, and the second part of that then is, you know, the way you play games. Does that really show who you are as a person? Does, you know, predict you or show who you are as a person? And I think that, you know, going back to what we were just saying before, is you don't really have a whole lot of free will in these games. I mean, the developer gives you a scenario, and you play out the scenario, but I don't necessarily know, like, that would be my choice.
Exactly.
If I really had free will in the game. Like, for instance, I think of Life is Strange, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things in that game that, like, I would have totally done differently if that was me in real life, but I wasn't given those choices. Here are the choices that I was given. I would not hang out with that friend for sure. That would be not one person to hang out with. I mean, that's just, you know, end of story.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of end of story, I feel like this is the equivalent to, like, teaching a class. It should be more like a story in Cosmopolitan. You know, like, does the position you have sex in determine the kind of person you are?
Right, yeah. It's like, totally like it's like a clickbait.
Non-scientific, yeah.
It's a total clickbait class.
It does, yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you're right. I mean... And I think it's so easy to use video games and be like, oh, look at, you know, I almost feel like using video games as propaganda, or not a propaganda, but more of like
Scapegoat.
or a selling tool to your to your classes that you're teaching.
Yeah,
maybe.
or your news that you're promoting.
Or the
whatever
news you're
it is.
promoting,
Yeah,
right.
Somebody
oftentimes it's news.
Or somebody got over-validated by a halfway decent thesis. And just kind of rolled with it.
Well, yeah, if you... It'd be like me telling my dad something about video games. Like, he doesn't play games, so I could tell him that like you could do anything in Grand Theft Auto, and he'd probably believe me. Just probably made a thesis that was like, "Hey, this is a thing," and then like some old man read it and was like, "Yeah, probably."
So true.
You win.
True.
So I want to read you some of these discussion topics and just go through some of these. So, what does it mean to be a good person? Explore The Walking Dead. So, I have not played The Walking Dead. I'm assuming it's the Telltale games, The Walking Dead Telltale games.
Yeah, it's probably not the one where you walk around with a crossbow and just nailing zombies in the head.
My guess is, though, again, you're limited by the choices that you're given by the developer. Not necessarily about.
I think that one's a better example only because it's a more in-depth game in terms of morality. Like
Maybe.
That game versus a Call of Duty, your morality is a lot different. Not, Call of Duty is trying to, spice it up by throwing in choices and stuff nowadays. But, regular Call of Duty is just run to objective, shoot things.
Yeah.
From my own experiences, though, just like somebody in Grand Theft Auto who might be like, let's like go to this prostitute and then do stuff and then kill her and then steal her money. Because like, why not 3 crimes at once? Like, point is, I'll explore options simply for the fact that there are no consequences. Yeah,
right.
Or because I can.
Right.
So sometimes I'll do bad things when I play Infamous.
And me too. I'll do things too just to see like, will this break the game?
Exactly.
That's actually one of the reasons I do things.
Nobody wants to actually be Darth Vader.
Hey, don't touch my game.
But everybody wants to be Darth Vader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
it's because he's badass.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, when I play Battle,
nobody wants to actually like hold the repertoire. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
Well,
but I also don't want a red lightsaber. I'd rather have like a green or a blue one. Yeah, they're much cooler.
Nice.
But I played Battlefield and I got to play as Darth Vader. Man, I gotta tell you, it was awesome going around. Battlefront, sorry. It was fun playing Darth Vader because I go around and force choke people and like throw them in the,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do that in real life, obviously. And even playing as a stormtrooper. I mean, obviously, I'm more of a rebel. Identify with the rebels more than I do with the stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. But it was fun playing a stormtrooper. It was still fun. But I don't do it because like, oh, that's who I am. That tells who I am as a person.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And then like in Telltale games specifically, it's like I'll try to make right decisions and then I get punished for it anyway.
Well, yeah,
so
like
a
lot of those games, even though the Telltale ones are more in depth, there are still cases where it splits and it like you can pick 2 different options and like it branches out that way and then they always kind of come back to something. Like you can save these 2 people and then you save one of them and the other one dies and then they're like, oh, thank you for saving me, and then that person just dies.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you save the other one, same thing happens, right?
It's railroading.
Because there's an overall like structure that they want you to experience again.
Yes.
That you need to go through. So if they have this useless character, it seems like it's a moral choice, but it's really not. Yeah. And I get that like a player wouldn't notice that necessarily, like especially a younger player. They wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't mess up there because I know this person's going to die because there's a plot to this game and blah, blah, blah.
Heavy Rain style.
Right? Yeah. They're going to just be more in the moment and be like, oh, I did this evil thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see how that in itself is like a little bit misleading.
It's misleading. I think that's the thing. It's misleading to make you feel like you have choices, but you don't have choices.
Yeah. You're controlled
by the environment that you're put in.
You have choice up to a point.
Yeah.
But you don't have infinite choice ever. Yeah.
Michelangelo didn't make me snarky. It was because I was snarky that I liked Michelangelo.
Oh.
The turtle or the artist?
Yeah, sorry, the turtle.
Oh, okay.
Let me just read you a couple more of these here. Do we have moral obligations to other people? Explore journey. I don't know if that really teaches me. Do I have moral obligations to other people?
I guess I'd have to find out what he meant by that.
Well,
I'm not sure.
Do you like food? Cooking Mama.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like he's just putting up like super meta questions and then just like tacking a game to it. Because like you said, there's a BioShock one in there.
Those are the next ones I was going to read. What does it mean for some For something to be possible, explore BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it'd be like, yeah, like you said, talking about Quantum Break. We were talking about this off the podcast, but like talking about Quantum Break and like time travel. Possible?
Oh,
sure. In the future.
Hey.
Not now.
Going down
It's not going to
pipes.
change me right now.
Maybe. Seeing a Mushroom Kingdom? Could be if I took enough mushrooms.
Yeah. Man, I'm so impressioned by this time travel thing that I'm just going to like believe it's a thing and then go blow up a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphic falcons and foxes and spaceships? Discuss.
Yeah.
There are crazy people out there though, like that they don't do crazy things like negative crazy things, but they're just crazy.
Well, I think of
Like certain cosplayers, they really get into that, like to the point where they think things from like the Mushroom Kingdom really exist somewhere
Exactly.
in the world.
well, or the people that saw what's that movie with the James Cameron movie with the big blue people?
Avatar?
Avatar. People that were so upset that they couldn't live in the world of Avatar killed themselves after seeing the movie.
Yeah, that's the thing,
It's
man.
so mean to laugh at, but come
people
on.
will kill themselves because they can't get rid of their legs. Like, there's weird stuff.
Yeah, but I'm
dude.
saying that
Yeah.
that's
those
the
people
whole
were
thing.
that way before they saw the movie.
Exactly.
It wasn't because that movie made them that way. And,
And-
same
and,
thing with games.
like-
A game didn't make them do something. They were like that before. They had some other underlying issues that they had before playing the game, seeing a movie, listening to the book, or listening to a music, reading the
audiobook.
Yeah, the audiobook. I mean, Charles Manson did not kill people because of Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter, I've listened to that song several times, and I am a normal person.
So you're
Now-
not admitting to anything.
Now, if you went
Let
to
this be known on this day of
if you went to your psychoanalyst and you said, I feel like killing people, and then she said, or he,
Don't.
whatever, play that game and then act out on whatever it is you choose to do after you play that game. Then, like, maybe it could influence your actions. You know?
yeah,
But, like,
if you're encouraged. But
Exactly,
nothing
where-
encourages you to do a thing
again,
in a game.
you have
Well,
to be in a particular...
that's not true. Some things do get encouraged in games. Call of Duty encourages you to go do certain acts.
You have to.
yeah.
Right. But
Morally questionable acts, like when you're in that airport in Modern
But they let
Warfare
you skip
2.
that.
Yeah.
They did intentionally put in that thing where you can not do that whole scene. Same with Modern Warfare 3, I think. There's an area I think that's like
And
that.
you know what? When I played through that, though, like, you either feel dirty or you grin and you go, like, this would be really cool to do this someday. And, like, those are the people you have to worry about, and the game doesn't influence them to be like that or
Yeah.
react like that.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I did it with a cringe.
yeah. Well, that's our hot topic, and you can continue this debate on our Facebook page. Go to GamerHeads Podcast, or go to Twitter at GamerHeads PC. Let us know what your thoughts are. Before we head out of here, though, let's quickly just go around and talk about what games we're playing, and then we'll talk about how people can get a hold of us. I know, Matt, you haven't been playing any games.
I haven't turned on, well, other than my computer, a
Yeah.
video game system in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Cool.
Because I've been working on the game.
That's awesome.
So I haven't played a single thing.
That's really good.
Cool.
Quite amazing.
You're shutting yourself out from all the influences out there.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going crazy like
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Goes down into his basement, works on horror game,
Yeah. You're normal.
models human character,
Yeah.
puts knife in human character. You guys are crazy. No, I haven't modeled that stuff yet.
You'll study the real stuff, though, I bet. I'm sure. Yeah.
So I did spend a little bit of my, I think it was Monday or Sunday, one of the days, looking up true crime documentaries on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is scary as hell to me.
Yeah.
And I want some of that like influence into the game, not to influence you.
Yeah.
But I watched one of them and I didn't sleep for like 3 nights. So
No, but I think that's
I don't
actually,
like watching that stuff. And it was about someone who went crazy, like we were talking about. They didn't
Yeah.
play video games; they were just straight crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I write my stories, like sometimes I'll watch things or listen to music to influence my
Oh, yeah.
thoughts to write something.
I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean that it stimulates creative thought.
It's kind of funny how it like ties into the hot topic, but like I watched a couple different like it's weird if you go on YouTube and you like look in some of the creepy stuff. There's like top 10 children who murdered their parents, and then there's like a list of it, and you're like, okay. So then you watch it, and you're like, what did all these people have in common? Nothing. They're all just insane.
Yes, exactly.
Like there's not one thing you can point
They all
out.
played this one video game.
I wonder if people dream about killing other people, because it's certainly nothing that I've ever dreamt about.
The dark podcast.
Yeah, this is.
Oh my god.
Sorry, yeah. I wonder though.
Well,
guys.
it's always different. You know, that's the thing that I realized watching that. Some of them are like crimes of passion. They're like not intended. They just happen. Sometimes it's like a reflex. Someone punches someone and the person's just dead because they punched them the wrong way. You know, like it's really it's always random. You know, the person's motivations or whatever. It's always seemingly random.
Yeah, it's not like this video game came out in 1994 and the craze hit the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jake, what are you playing?
Kind of blockbusters, unfortunately. Usually I'm full of those indie titles. Battlefield 1, I'm playing. Yep, of course. Want to play with you tonight. That'd be awesome. That's context.
In the game.
Yeah, but that's going to influence what you guys do in real life.
It is, yeah.
And then Saints Row Got Out of Hell, which again, like, doesn't make me fantasize about like demons or fly running or anything else. Like, that's so weird though, how like there's a trophy for like the car traveling around in cars, and that is like the weakest option in the game, because you can run faster than the cars and you can fly, and like it doesn't take very long to upgrade your wings, so you can flap a few times and go really far basically. So like I just fly from point to point.
That's how
takes away the fun.
Jeez, I just bumped the mic. That's how Crackdown always was for me, because did you ever play Crackdown on Xbox and stuff?
Nope.
You can level up your like driving skill or your jumping skill. While you're jumping, you can just jump over buildings, and like you're driving, you can drive really fast, and I think you might be able to get some extra bonus things. But you have to go around a building, so it's like just up your jump and jump from building to building. You know, you can jump over like big ravines and stuff, whereas if you drive, you just drive it down into the ravine and die. So like,
right?
it's like why would you do that?
Yeah.
See,
so true.
influences your choices.
It does.
In the game.
Now I can jump
in
over
the game,
buildings in real life. It's amazing, guys.
Yeah.
And he chooses to
Are you courageous
drive
now to
into
jump
ravines.
over buildings?
Well, it's smarter than
Yeah.
driving into ravines.
Yeah, I guess.
So
Yeah.
why not?
Anything else you're playing, Jake?
I had another one actually, but I can't think of it right now. So maybe by the time you're done talking about it.
By the time the podcast's over, Jake will remember what other game he's playing.
Yeah, basically.
Battlefield 1 for myself.
Uh-huh.
So, been playing that. Played Marvel Heroes Omega, which is kind of fun. It's kind of reminds me of...
one of those like old-timer cell phone games.
No, it's like Diablo.
On the
or-
PC?
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I don't
Please.
think.
So it was a game that came out a long time ago, PC Heroes, Marvel Heroes, on the PC, and then they like got so many bad reviews. People are just like, "This is terrible. This is such a bad game." They took it off the market, came back as Omega, and it said it's free. Well, it's free. It's a free to play game, right? So like you can play up to level 10, and then you have to buy the characters, or you can spend these gems that you collect to buy the character.
Currency.
Yeah, and I was able to buy I mean, if you want to buy every character, you're going to spend money, but I'm like, I'm just going to take one character and level it up. So I just took Gambit because I love Gambit, and I've been playing Gambit. See, the Gambit determines who I am as a person.
Yeah, you're gonna go throw cards at
who
people.
you are
Yeah,
as a person
exactly.
Bow
determines
staff.
your like for Gambit.
Yeah,
That's the
true.
thing. Like right now, if you're like, what do you like? You're gonna be like this one, and it's not gonna be because that option influenced you the most. It's gonna be because your influences chose that option.
Yeah. The other character I'm going to be playing is Daredevil. You know why? Because he's free. He came free as a PlayStation Plus member.
Nice. So I guess
So that
money influences
yeah.
your decisions.
Exactly.
We can all agree on that.
Yeah. Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. Let's see. Oh, Paladins. Played Paladins because my nephew plays that game. So I played it, and it's pretty fun. I actually got a comment on our YouTube channel, which you can follow. GamerHeads. Just look up GamerHeads, and you'll find us. Somebody said, "Wow, you're actually good at the game." I said how bad I am.
Heavy troll.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I've been playing the Fire Emblems. I had Conquest, and then I bought Birthright as a DLC because that story intrigued me more. So I went that
It
route.
comes full circle. I took too long at the beginning, so he of course
Yeah,
went
I was
short.
shortest.
Yeah.
And now,
No, I'm
since
the
he
longest.
had the shortest list of games he played, you had the longest list of games to play.
Yeah, but I probably
kinda
played
neat.
my own game longer than you guys played your
Nice, a
game.
lot
That's
of
probably
hours.
true, though. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Were you gonna say something else, Matt?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Matt, how do people get a hold of you if they want to continue this discussion about whether or not you're influenced by games?
Well, you're wrong. I'm talking to you, audience. So start with that.
Right.
And you can get a hold of me on Twitter at Matt Christian, MattChristian.
And how can they add you on PlayStation?
Symbiote, XYMBIOT3.
Jake?
Keep those IMs coming and all those friend requests and like all those
Do you
messages.
get a lot of friends requests?
What a great crowd out there! Thank you. Keep it coming. You can.
You
Reach
guys
me.
are great.
You guys can reach me at Instagram. Start Save Games, man. Keep all those good vibes coming. I really appreciate all the good things you guys have to say.
Okay. And for myself, you can follow us. Well, not myself, but follow GamerHeads on Twitter. So we're GamerHeads PC. And then on Facebook, GamerHeads Podcast. You can email us at gamerheadspodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on YouTube now. We're also on Google Play, so you can listen to our podcast there. On iTunes, of course. On Podbean. And on YouTube, actually. Our podcast is now on YouTube, too.
Eventually, the whole podcast is just going to be us. We're on this and this and this and this. It's been a great show.
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, exactly. That's my goal. Is
The
that
hot topic will be, should we go on this site?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
exactly.
And then we'll go into some large meta debate about should we even do anything?
Yeah. Should we even do a podcast anymore?
Should we even be living right here?
Smart.
If you have ideas or thoughts that you want us to discuss as a hot topic, we're welcome to listen to those and not do them. No, we will debate them. Send them our way. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah. All right, thanks everybody. And GamerHeads out.